Dayton, Ohio. You're standing in the kitchen of your rental on Wyoming Street with $52,000 in a high yield savings account and two tabs open on a laptop that's overdue for a replacement. The first tab is a listing your friend Derek sent an hour ago with the subject line, "This is the one." A three-bedroom colonial in Kettering, $184,900. Good schools, a two-car garage. Derek closed on his own house in April and has developed the specific evangelism of the newly converted. The second tab is a Dayton Daily News classified, a cafe for sale on Wayne Avenue, asking $58,000. Behind on his lease, 2 stars on Google. The owner, Rosa Delgado, has run it for 11 years and is closing because her husband's dialysis schedule doesn't leave room for opening shifts anymore. You close Derek's tab. You don't have a clean reason. The math doesn't favor it. A house appreciates. A struggling cafe might not survive the year. But something about buying the safe thing at 31 feels like buying the rest of your life pre-approved. And you'd rather bet on becoming someone than on a zip code. You call the number in the listing. Rosa answers on the second ring, sounding tired in a specific way you don't understand yet. 2 weeks later, you sign the purchase agreement in a strip mall law office, and Rosa hands you a ring of 11 keys with no labels. 4 hours after that, alone in the cafe at 6 a.m., with the ancient espresso machine hissing at you like it disapproves, you understand for the first time that you don't know how to run a business. You don't know the wholesale price of a pound of coffee. You don't know what a P and L is supposed to look like. You've bought yourself a problem, and the problem opens for customers in 90 minutes. The keys. The cafe, you've kept Rose's name for it, Delgado's, is worse than the walkthrough let on. The espresso machine needs $2,200 in repairs within your first month. The walk-in cooler's compressor is dying. Your first payroll run, you miscalculate the withholding and come within $340 of not covering it. Sitting at the register at 11 p.m., moving money between your personal savings and the business checking account at your bank like you're patching a leak with your hand. You don't tell anyone, not Derek, not your parents. You sit in your car in the parking lot and stare at the dashboard. The cafe is yours now. That means the failures are yours too. You don't sleep well that night. You fire your first employee in your 4th month, a barista skimming from the tip jar, and your hands don't stop shaking until you're back in your car. Then, slowly, it turns. You renegotiate your coffee supply contract with a roaster in Cincinnati, dropping your cost per pound by 14%. You start closing the espresso bar an hour earlier on weekdays once you notice the foot traffic dies at 2 p.m. anyway, cutting your labor costs without losing revenue. By your second full year, Delgado's nets $41,000, modest but real and yours. One morning, you stand at the register and count the drawer. The numbers add up, not a lot, just enough. You're not rich. You're not even comfortable. But the cafe is paying for itself now. It's paying you, and for the first time since you signed the papers, you don't feel like you're drowning. You start noticing other things on your drive home. A laundromat on Salem Avenue with a hand-lettered "for sale" sign taped to the window. You used to see that sign and see a laundromat. Now you see a debt service coverage ratio you could probably clear. You look at the espresso machine, it's still hissing at you. You've learned to ignore it. Building the system. In your 6th year, you buy the laundromat, 22 machines, a corner lot, $63,500, from a retired GM line worker named Walt Higgins who ran it on a paper ledger and a landline. He hands you the keys. They're not heavy this time. You stand in the corner lot and look at the sign above the door. Walt's name is still on it. You wonder if he ever stood here and felt the same thing you're feeling now. You don't know if you'll succeed, but you know you've done this before. That makes it different. 18 months later, you buy Higgins Plumbing itself, a small residential outfit Walt's brother-in-law was ready to unload for $91,000, 3 trucks, and a long client list going back to 1987. You're no longer running 3 businesses, you're running one system with 3 faces. You build a shared bookkeeping cadence across all of them. The same Tuesday morning routine of reconciling accounts payable, checking your combined DSCR before any new equipment purchase, because your bank has made clear that 1.20 times is the floor they'll lend against. Derek asks you, not unkindly, over beers at a Phrase Pavilion concert, why you still haven't bought a house. You don't have a tidy answer. The honest one, that you're not sure the version of you that bought a house instead would have learned any of this, doesn't fit into the conversation. The combined businesses are netting close to $210,000 a year now. But that's not the number you notice most. What you notice is that a $30,000 repair bill on the laundromat's boiler doesn't produce the same cold drop in your stomach it would have 3 years ago. Something in you has recalibrated. The growth. Year 8. 3 businesses, 19 employees across all of them. Payroll running bi-weekly through a system you finally trust enough not to double-check by hand. You are hiring, firing, negotiating supplier contracts, and this year dealing with a plumbing customer, a property management company called Miller Valley Rentals, disputing a $14,000 invoice for repairs they claim caused water damage to a unit. You wake up twice most nights in March thinking about the worst case spreadsheet in your head. You run the numbers on what happens if Higgins Plumbing loses this dispute, and it goes further than a disputed invoice. It goes further. In April, Miller Valley's attorney files a civil suit alleging negligence, seeking $340,000 in damages. Derek, when you tell him, suggests gently that maybe this is a sign to sell everything and get something simpler, something safer. You realized he's speaking a different language from the one you now believe. The same language you used to speak. You don't sell, not out of stubbornness. You notice, almost from a distance, that the person sitting across from your own lawyer discussing the suit isn't panicking the way the person who once nearly missed an $8,400 payroll would have. Something in you actually changed, and you're only now stopping long enough to notice it. The call you dreaded. You hire Paul Ostrowski, a Dayton attorney who's handled 2 prior disputes for Higgins Plumbing, and for 3 months the case consumes your Tuesdays. You pull maintenance logs, invoices, photos from the original job. It turns out the water damage predates your crew's visit by 4 months. Documented in an inspection report Walt's old files happen to still have. The suit is dismissed in September. You get the news in a quiet email from Paul Ostrowski. No phone call, just a short message. Dismissed with prejudice. You read it twice, then you sit there for a moment. Total legal cost, $22,000. Money you would have panicked to lose 8 years ago. Money that this year is a rounding error against $210,000 in combined net income. What stays with you isn't the dismissal. It's the 3 months of operating through it without your hands shaking once. Not during the deposition prep, not during the one uncomfortable phone call with Miller Valley's owner. You are not the person who signed Rosa Delgado's purchase agreement in a strip mall law office 9 years ago. You just spent a quarter proving it to yourself. The room that stayed the same. Year 10. Your accountant emails you in October with a subject line that just says FYI and a net worth statement attached. Combined equity across the 3 businesses plus retained cash, $1,140,000. You read it twice at your kitchen table. The same round table you bought used off Facebook Marketplace in your first year. The one you've never replaced. Nothing in this room looks like $1 million, but the person sitting in it does. It doesn't feel like arrival. It feels like a number on a page, a lagging indicator of something that already happened inside you years earlier. You still rent your place on Wyoming Street. $1,150 a month, same landlord, same crack in the bathroom tile you've never bothered fixing. No house, no driveway. 3 businesses under your name and 19 people whose paychecks depend on decisions you make every week. You look at your hands on the table, the same hands that signed a purchase agreement for a struggling cafe, that handed a barista her final paycheck, that didn't shake once through a $340,000 lawsuit. You understand, quietly, that you could lose all 3 businesses tomorrow and still know exactly how to build something out of nothing again, because you already did it once on Wayne Avenue with $52,000 and no idea what you were doing. You were never going to be someone who owned a house in Kettering. You became someone who builds, and somewhere in your mind, you know you could buy a house tomorrow, and it wouldn't feel heavy at all.